How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Solana has been blowing everything out of the water recently. It's now third on the top cryptocurrency list if you exclude USDT. It's been so explosive. So many people want to know, is it too late to buy Solana? Should we be looking at Solana? Should we roll our Ethereum into Solana since Ethereum hasn't moved in a while? I want to talk about all that, talk about the positions Solana's in right now and what's happening next. Now, of course, always do your own due diligence. If you don't mind, hit subscribe underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this. Months ago, I made a how to retire on Solana video. I'll put that on the end screen so that you can see that video as well. Now, numbers change very quickly in cryptocurrency, so I'd have to look at maybe doing another one if you want one. There's also a link down there to Margex where you can trade Solana on leverage. Now, you could also, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, you could also use Solana as collateral for something like a Bitcoin trade if you think the ETF is going to be approved in the next couple weeks and Bitcoin's going to spike, and then you get paid in Solana. So it's kind of awesome because as Solana's price goes up, you already have the Solana, but then you're gaining more Solana. So even if you closed out a trade at zero with Solana as collateral, you'd still be gaining because of the underlying asset Solana going up in price. You can also trade Solana on Margex. There's no KYC and there's no VPN needed. So check that out. Also, if you already have signed up for Margex, you can refer other people. Just go up to this section, and if you have a trader friend, you can make some of the commissions from them. So if they have some fees, you can make some money from that. There's also a link down there to Blowfin. There's only 1 day left on this trading contest, so definitely check that out as well. That we have a huge contest running over there. Solana has been explosive, moving so quickly, up 16% in the last 24 hours. It's 5x'd in the last 90 days. It's just been nuts. And I've been talking about it for a while. This was just a few months ago, 2 months ago. I was talking about how Solana's on my list of top buys. Basically, if you had $1,000, I said that Solana would be one of the top cryptocurrencies I'd look at buying for the next bull run. $22 then. 5x since then. Of course, I do say in this video, I do not have a large enough position. And I don't still. I got caught a little bit. I have a small position, but not enough. Part of the reason that's been blowing up is just because the volume is nuts. The amount of usage on Solana is nuts. It's cheap, and it's gone through the FTX collapse quite well. 24-hour DEX volume overpowers that of Ethereum and Arbitrum combined, almost including BSC as well. So it's been nuts recently. You can see the price. It's explosive. I mean, 3 giant green candles in a row. This is the monthly. So we peaked out yesterday around 117. Now slight pullback to 113, but we have basically seen no drops in the last couple months for Solana. Now, keep in mind, the Solana to Ethereum chart looks like we may hit resistance. Now, not everyone looks at this, but in the past, the highest that we've seen was back in September of 2021, where we got to about 0.059 Solana to ETH. Now we're at 0.049. So we are heading into some resistance. Now maybe we just blast right through this and Solana becomes a huge market cap. I mean, it already is 20% bigger than BNB. It just flipped it like that. But it's still got 5.5x to go until it hits Ethereum's market cap. So people want to know, well, should I just freaking buy Solana right now? It's still so much smaller than Ethereum. If it had the same number of tokens in circulation, it'd be like a $400 price compared to this $2,300 price. So does it make sense to just get out of Ethereum? It's been very much stagnant. It's not even outperforming Bitcoin. What should we do? Okay, so keep in mind, we are running into some resistance. Also keep in mind, ETH has been on a deflationary downtrend for the entire year. It doesn't rely on an inflationary supply to subsidize its validators. So Ethereum has been deflationary about 0.22% over the last year, which means that it's actually becoming harder to buy. And at this point, that hasn't really caused the price to explode. But as more and more players get into Ethereum and want to stake, locks up a lot of the supply. It also, when we have more demand, right? When there are more people transacting, it'll become more deflationary, which will cause the price to spike up. Tokenomics mean a lot over the long term. Short term, pumpability, they're not always the most important thing. But just because Ethereum hasn't moved yet, I wouldn't count it out. There are a lot of institutions that are looking at Ethereum, especially if there's an Ethereum ETF or if there's more custody services where they will actually go and stake for these large entities. Ethereum is not out of the game. And just because it hasn't been moving recently doesn't mean that it's not going to move. So I would be careful about rolling your Ethereum into Solana. Sometimes pumps beget pumps, which means basically sometimes things that pump more because they are pumping. Like people see Ethereum or people see Solana moving up and they say, I need to be in on that trade. I need to buy more Solana before it gets away from me. So they go and dump money in there and then it spikes even more. And that just continues to happen. But what we see a lot of times in crypto too is one crypto runs and then one stays stagnant and then eventually the other one runs. Like I personally hold more Ethereum than Solana at this point, but I'm not trying to go out of my way to sell something that hasn't pumped to go into something that has 5x'd in 90 days. Now, of course, it could continue to run. I'm just saying that right now. We could see another 2x from Solana just like that. But that's one of the easiest ways, I think, to lose out in the next bull run is to have this shiny object syndrome, basically moving from asset to asset, whatever's pumping, trade out of the ones that aren't pumping and go into the one that is pumping. Sometimes if you're early enough, that's great, but a lot of the time you just lose money that way. Like by the time you eventually want to buy that asset that's spiked up, it's a little bit toppy. Solana has not seen a pullback in a very long time. We could see a pullback. It's very possible. And then we could see Ethereum run. The last thing I try to do, like I said, is try to go from one thing that's not pumping to something that is pumping back and forth, because you can have a market that continues to move up then and you just consistently lose out position to position because they start to fall back down, obviously, if they pumped up so much. So don't count Ethereum out just because it hasn't moved in a while. That is one thing that I think would be a terrible idea. Keep in mind, there are other cryptocurrencies too that are still smaller, right? Like don't feel ever like you need to be pressured into buying something because it's going to get away from you. That's just a bad way to go about investing. Like there are always going to be more opportunities. And don't feel like you have to be married to one crypto. Like for example, I talked about Phantom a lot during the bear market, talking about how I thought it was probably a good one to hold for the next bull market. And I bought some. You can see here, it's up 178% in the last 90 days. It's up 30% basically in the last 7 days. No one talks about it, but it's still done really well. It's still a much smaller market cap too than anything in the top 10. Even if it just got up to the top 10 market cap here, but like during the bull run, so everything explodes and then Phantom just gets up to a $15 billion market cap, it would be a 10x. Now, we could see 10x's from some of these, but keep in mind, like, if you're looking for something explosive, you probably want to look a little bit further down the list than something that's up 500% and is in the top 5. Just keep that in mind. Now, I'm not trying to fade Solana. I like Solana. I think there's a reason that it's been exploding. I think Ethereum actually will probably have a move here soon. Everyone's counting it out, but as I said, they are one of the most used chains, and they do have a lot of institutional interest. There also could be some kind of Ethereum spot ETF as well. Keep in mind too, Ethereum still could be a huge gainer in the next bull market. It gets at $2,200 now. It could easily move up to $6,000, $8,000, $10,000. It moved up to $4,800 last bull market. So even if it just 2x's from the last bull market, it could be around $10,000. So that's nothing to scoff at. Like a nice 4.5x on something as big as Ethereum would be awesome. The risk to reward there is still really in your favor. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. There's a link underneath the video to Margex where you can trade cryptocurrencies on leverage. There's no KYC, there's no VPN. You can check it out. Just click on the link. They also have a deposit bonus as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. If you want to see that Solana video, how much Solana you need to retire, it's on the end screen.